Hi everyone, welcome back to another studio vlog. In this week's studio vlog, I want to walk you through the process of how I create a new greeting card from start to finish. But first, I'm going to go make some coffee and I'll be right back. Now that I have my coffee, I'm going to start sketching out my ideas on the paper. The very first thing I do is deciding on the overall composition using simple lines and circles. This card is going to be a part of the Birds Flower birthday cards collection that I've been working on. Each month of the year has its own bird flower, and I thought it would be nice to create a birthday card specific for each month. I have already completed March and April designs, as you have had a sneak peek from the intro, and today we're going to work on the May together. May's flower is the lily of the valley. With the overall composition done, I am adding in details of each flower. There are 3 different ways for me to create a new design for the shop. The first one is to do everything digitally. I usually use my iPad and Apple Pencil for the entire process. The second way is to paint traditionally using different mediums such as watercolor, gouache, or acrylic paint, depending on the look that I'm going for, and scan the artwork to get a digital version and do some color correction or do minor editing on Photoshop. I can make another video explaining this in more detail as well. Last but not least, my most used way is to combine both traditional and digital method. For some reason, sketching using pencil and paper lets my creative juice flow better. So I'll do an initial sketch traditionally, like I'm doing here, and then finish up the drawing using a digital method. Now that I'm finished with the flowers, I'm going to move on to adding in more details for the leaves. I usually Google a reference photo to get my inspiration going, and I noticed that the leaves of the lily of the valley have more elongated shape and have vertical lines, so I wanted to make sure I captured that. Once I'm done adding all the lines to the leaves, I'm just going to add in some shading and do some final touch-ups around the entire drawing. I think these little details I add at the end really makes a difference. The bold lines, some shading here and there, really gives that volume, I think. When finished with the drawing, I would take a photo of it and import it into Procreate. Procreate is a drawing app on iPad that I always use to create my illustrations. I will set the photo to the size I like, turn down the opacity of that layer, and then I will create a new layer and trace the lines of the sketch that I have drawn using pencil. As I draw over the sketches, I will sometimes add a bit more details, change the drawings ever so slightly. I just kind of do what I feel like in the moment. I have been really inspired to draw flowers recently. Maybe it is the warmer weather that we have been getting, but this spur of inspiration is what got me to think of doing the whole bird flower collection. Apart from the birthday cards, I'm also planning on making art prints and stickers out of these drawings as well. I think it would be a really nice birthday gift set for special people in your life. So if you're interested, please check out the description below for a link to my shop. While I trade the line work, I want to talk about a book that I finished recently. It is called The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. I'll put a link to his book down below as well. This book is about a girl named Nora who committed suicide because she felt like she no longer had purpose in life, but gets to try out different versions of her life. In some life, she's a famous singer. In other versions, she's an Olympic medalist or lives in Australia. But at the end, she decides to take back her original life. By going through different lives, she has a whole new perspective on her life, and she begins to appreciate little things she had that she had not noticed before. I keep a book journal of all the books I read. I write down quotes that I resonate with, or write down my feelings or thoughts that I have while reading or after reading the book. I want to share a chunk of what I wrote after reading this book. I wrote, I think it is all about the perception, how you see things. A same thing can be something amazing, but also something very disappointing. We make millions of choices daily. Some we regret, some we're happy and proud about, but at the end of the day, these choices are what shapes us. Rather than what ifs, I want to live the life at hand, making the best choices I can. I'm happy Nora decided to come back to her own life. Even though it talks about life and death, this book was a very easy read, and I would totally recommend this book. My favorite quote from this book is, if you aim to be something you're not, you will always fail. Aim to be you. Aim to look and act and think like you. Aim to be the truest version of you. Embrace that you-ness. Endorse it. Love it. Work hard at it. I wanted to share this quote because with all the social media posts we come across every day, it is easy to feel like we have to be something or someone. But you embracing your own you-ness is all you need. With the outline done, I'm going to start coloring in. I decided to use watercolor brush because I wanted a soft and somewhat transparent look. The easiest method I found with the watercolor brush is to just color a big region and erase the parts outside the lines. I know it's a little bit tedious, but I really like the finished look of it. This illustrating on iPad portion took me over an hour, so I've sped things up and edited out the parts, so you do not have to watch me illustrate for an hour. Now that I have the basic greens down, I'm going to start putting colors down for the flowers. I decided that I was going to have pink as a background, so I have a light wash of pink in the background already. So while I paint the flowers, I can make sure the colors of the flowers will work well with the background color. Using watercolor brush on iPad is just like watercoloring in real life. You do your first light wash and then you build up the colors. So once I have basic first layer of colors down, I go back for additional layers of colors and detail. I just repeat this process until I'm happy with my illustration. I think they're coming along nicely and I'm really happy how it turned out. The last step is to position the background the way I like it. Sometimes I have to do it a couple of times and then we are done. Once the illustration is done, I airdrop it to my iMac, and using the greeting card template that I have already set up on Photoshop, I just need to resize the image and do a test print. I sometimes have to color correct and test print multiple times because sometimes the colors you see on the screen isn't what is being printed. I also add the name of the flower, the month, and the meaning inside the card, and this is what the final product looks like. While we are at it, I also want to show you the Daisy birthday card for April. I really like the pop of yellow in the background on this one. And this is Daffodil birthday card for the month of March. I'm going to continue working on rest of the month, so be sure to check out my shop for updates, and thank you so much for watching.